My name is Chad Hayes. I'm the police chief here in the city of Melvindale. Also with me is Steve Densmore, he's the assistant fire chief with the Dearborn Fire Department, and Scott Simons, a representative from DTE. There was a traffic crash this morning just after 2 a.m. An individual left the roadway and appears to have struck a natural gas pipe on DTE property. Police officers responded to that traffic crash and helped extricate that individual from the vehicle and eventually transported him to Beaumont Hospital in Dearborn. I do not have an update on his condition. He was injured. Obviously, there was some sort of issue with the natural gas line and began to burn and started off, my understanding was started off slowly and then became larger and larger. So we still have an area cordoned off. That's going to be Robert Street on the west side of Melvindale, all the way over to Prospect, which is approximately 9 blocks. And then from Elizabeth Street all the way to South Dearborn or Greenfield Road, which is a 2-block area. So you're talking, about 18 square blocks of a portion of the city. It appears that the roadway may have been damaged from the intense heat. So Wayne County is on the way to assess that. That intersection is closed at this time. That's the only thing I had prepared for this morning. I don't know if the fire chief wants to give a statement or just answer some questions, but myself and the fire chief and the representative from DT are here if you have a couple of questions for us.
Do you know the driver's condition at all? I know you mentioned that, or if what played a role in the crash? We're being told that alcohol may be under the influence. Do you know anything? Can you confirm that?
I cannot confirm that. I have a couple officers at the hospital attempting to get that information. So as soon as I know something, we'll go from there. If it turns out this is a fatality with the traffic crash, then we will contact the Downriver Task Force for the traffic accident investigation and let them handle that portion of the incident.
Chief, we've been on the air all morning with this, as a lot of folks have, and been watching this morning, and we've been getting a lot of viewers asking why the main so close to the road. Do you know anything about that, or can anyone else answer that?
It's not that close to the road. This individual traveled a distance off the roadway. It's not like it's 4 or 5 feet off the street. I've been here 25 years, and no one's ever gone that path. We don't know why the individual drove where he drove.
What would be the distance, you think, or how far is it?
I wouldn't, I'd hate to guess. It's not a short distance.
Was that vehicle traveling on Allen toward the facility going north on Allen?
No, the information I have is the vehicle was traveling southbound on Greenfield, and instead of either following Greenfield as it curved slightly to the left or making a right-hand turn onto Allen Road, it made a sharp left-hand turn onto DTE property.
Was alcohol involved in this? Do we know anything?
We don't know.
Can we talk about the barriers in the area where the accident happened at all?
Can we talk about them?
Yeah, just can you talk where the accident happened? And
there's fencing along the DTE property, and there's also a large berm on DTE property to keep vehicles from going onto the property.
What were the effects afterwards? After the vehicle hit the pipe, I understand that fires were caused after that. Can you talk about what burned, to what extent, and if there is still anything burning now?
I was over there approximately 40 minutes ago. I did not see anything of the pipeline burning, whether there was still stuff smoldering on DT property. I think that is still ongoing. What burned was natural gas from a natural gas line. I think DT can probably answer that question a little better, but my understanding was it's a large natural gas line.
So structures that were burned?
Yes.
Homes, residences?
No homes. No, it's DT property. It's the business, industrial type area.
Can you talk about the evacuation plan?
We had mutual aid in effect for the police department, so we contacted Allen Park, Lincoln Park, all the Downward police agencies, and they responded to go door to door in the affected area that I mentioned to make sure that all the residents were advised and asked to leave the area. Melvindale has a senior bus, so we have that available to pick up seniors who are not able to get out of the home. Our DPW was out helping seniors as well get out of their homes. A couple of people needed some more help.
So how many people do you think were affected, residents?
I don't know.
It was a pretty, obviously, huge explosion. Do you know, or can you talk about what the air quality in the area at this point?
I think the fire chief can probably address that. My understanding is the hazmat team is either on site or on the way and set up some air monitoring equipment to ensure that it's safe, but I don't think there's any issue with that.
And lots of crews. Can you talk about the crews and the response teams that are out there this morning?
We have, the Michigan, aside from the local police departments and the extraordinary response from the Dearborn Fire Department, Michigan State Police are here, Wayne County Emergency Management is here, State of Michigan Emergency Management is here. So we're in contact with any number of agencies trying to make sure that we handle the situation properly.
What's next at this point?
As far as the traffic crash goes, I'm waiting for an update from the hospital to see if that's going to be a fatality or not. As far as DTE and Wayne County, they've got a lot of work to do. Anybody else?
Are we gonna hear from Scott?
If you have any questions for Warren, sure.
Yeah. I'd be willing to take any questions.
Is there anything that you can add that?
To the chief's point about the environmental situation, we have our own environmental team on its way. Right now we're assessing damage, and the situation seems to be under control at this point.
This was obviously very frightening for folks in the area, even folks who live further away that either felt it or saw it. Any comfort that you can give to folks at home at this point?
Well, first of all, our top priority is the safety of our customers and our employees. And we did have 2 employees who are stationed there overnight. They were outside the facility perimeter when the situation happened. They were on a field run. But we have emergency procedures in place. We exercised those successfully this morning. We were able to shut off the valve so the situation wouldn't compound itself. And right now we're in a pretty stable situation.
Scott, what outages, if any, are consumers of your facility or your energy getting?
Well, there are no outages on the gas side, just a handful of customers on the electric side, no residential customers.
Can you talk about the magnitude of this? Like, how long you've been with DTE? Have you seen anything like this before?
Yeah, I was going to say the chief and I have been with our respective organizations for 25 years, and this is the first time that we've had a situation like this at our Allen Road facility. And it doesn't happen very often, if at all. And so this is something totally out of the ordinary. And we do prepare for situations like this. And, safety is our top priority.
So the guy actually hit a transformer. What did he hit to it?
He hit a gas main valve, and things escalated from there.
Dearborn, obviously, firefighters played a big role
Yes,
in
ma'am.
helping this morning. Can you talk to us about that?
So we instituted, once we received the alarm, we instituted a second alarm, which brought additional apparatus and personnel to the scene. And we assisted with Michigan and also the Melvindale Police, our evacuation policy that we had, and stood by and just made sure and protected the structures that were around from spreading into the fire.
Lots of crews being talked about. I know you probably can't put a number on it, but talk about how many firefighters were out there this morning and just crews in total.
Crews in total, I would say roughly about 24 to 25 firefighters, including chief officers that responded. At no time was the public, we still had full response for the city of Dearborn and Melvindale with our people that we had on duty.
How many alarms did it go up to?
And went to 2, second alarm.
Talking about how working close together with the cities helps you guys to take care of situations like this?
Absolutely. We belong to Downriver Mutual Aid, which is a pact that we have formulated with the communities of Downriver, both the police and the fire department. and we also belong to Western Wayne as well. And then we also have working relationships, as you've seen, with Michigan State Police, Wayne County Sheriff, that time as well.
Steve, tell me about the people who've been affected by these evacuations. Where are they going? Where can they go now? The Red Cross involved?
Yes, the American Red Cross is involved. The majority of the people are in Allen Park, our sister city, in their, I believe, the inner city Baptist school that they have there. They open their doors to get them. We felt it better to send them to Allen Park. Eventually, let me back up. At the beginning of the call, we wanted to get the residents out, and one of our evacuation places was the Civic Center, and that was a little bit too close, so that's why we reached out to our neighboring community there. They were willing to open that up for us.
Any idea when they will be able to get back into their house?
No, ma'am, I don't. It's a very fluid investigation, as the chief had mentioned, even on our end as well. And then we should have a better update for you at 12 o'clock.
I'm sure it was really hard to contain that fire. Can you talk to us about how you were able to?
Well, with natural gas fires, as we've learned through our schooling, they will run what they want to do. So we just support the entities on the other side of them. Our priority is life safety of both our crews and the residents in the area. So that was our main goal, is to get them out. And then once Michigan got there, we just assisted them in controlling what they needed to do.
In situations like this, how important is it that residents know where their nearest evacuation center is?
It's very important, and we do have a policy in place. We've had it for quite a few years with the police department, and the officers, I commend them for going up and down the street, door knocking, making announcements to get the people out. As you well know, it was roughly 2 o'clock in the morning, and most people were asleep. So, and I commend the citizens as well for getting out in a timely manner. They did an awesome job.
Yeah. Normally, one of our evacuation points is the field house, the Civic Arena on South Dearborn. But being that it was only a few hundred yards away from the traffic crash, that was the facility that we weren't allowed to use because it was too close. So we always have more than one location, and we can go obviously to different cities. So normally we would send people there, but being that it's too close to that scene, we had to go someplace else. But it always works when you're in cooperation with the neighbors and the local agencies, and you know, that's kind of what we train and plan for.